everyone. I just wanted to mention before this video started that this fender install is not specific to this tractor, and not even specific to Massey Ferguson. New Holland uses basically the exact same fender kit and brackets, so if you're putting them on New Holland, they're basically the same thing. I noticed on our T6030 New Holland it has the same spring-loaded brackets and basically all the same parts, just a little bit different color. So John Deere, though, they're a little bit different the way they work. The ones on my 6110R, they actually turn until they hit the fender has a little rubber bumper on it, and it hits a plate on the side of the engine. And that's how they work on my 6110R. But I think most other brands of tractors, or Massey Ferguson and New Holland, I know for sure, use this type of bracket. So it's not specific to Massey, so you can use these instructions if you want for other brands.
Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm in the shop here and I'm putting fenders on my Massey Ferguson 5711. Now I've got the left side done, but I wanted to make a video right quick of installing one of these because there's a lot of pieces and parts. It all comes disassembled, and I wanted to put one of them together, so I kind of knew what was going on before I made the video, and that way I could explain it a little better and a little easier. So here's parts lists. You got to make sure you get this bracket on the right side of the tractor because there is a left and a right, and they don't explain which one goes where. You just kind of have to figure that out on your own. But if you look at it, this is the left side of the tractor. Now I don't even know where the other one went. It's here somewhere. Here it is. It's under all my trash. Every little thing is in a plastic bag. So you gotta rip through all those plastic bags. But anyway, this was the one for the right side. I'm gonna set it over here, and this is the way it's gonna be mounted on the axle. And just look at this spring. This spring needs to be turned like this on the right side when you go to put it on. The other one, this spring would be over this way, and there's no delineation on these to which one goes where. You have to just kind of figure that out. Also, if you look underneath, when the pin is over here, when you're looking at it, the pin is over on the right side. That's the one that goes on the right side of the tractor. If the pin is over there there's another hole right here. If the pin is over in that hole, it goes on the left side of the tractor. So there's one way you can tell a little easier. So the first thing on this tractor, this one has the Dana, I'm sorry, I keep saying Dyna because this tractor's a Dyna 4, but this tractor has a Dana axle, which if you have the Caro axle, you have to use these spacers, but they didn't send the long bolts to go with those spacers, so I'm not exactly sure what you would do in that situation. But this tractor had the Dyna axle, so there's actually what they call an adapter you have to put on the top of the hub to mount those things to. So right here is one of the adapters. There's actually two of these things. And in my kit, one of them came in a box and one of them came in a bag. So let me get this open. I mean, every little freaking thing comes in something. So you got a lot of trash left over. So you got to have this, and then what you got to have to mount that. Let me see if I can find them here right quick. Here it is these two Allen bolts. Okay. Actually, I'm sorry, it takes 4 of them because there's 2 in each one, here and here. Okay. So I'm gonna find the other 2, I get the other bracket. It takes a great big Allen wrench to tighten these. I happen to have a let me get some light in here because it's going to be kind of dark. Lighting is going to be essential. I don't know if that's helping y'all, but hopefully it is a little bit. I don't really have a good way to light it up in here. I'm going to turn the light up a little brighter. This flashlight's adjustable. Okay, so let me show you which way these go on here. They go on here like this. They do not show these in the instructions and how they go on here, but I just figured it out after trial and error. But anyway, there's a taper on these things. And I want y'all to see, I got that one laying on there upside down, sorry. They go on here just like this, with the taper facing the tractor, in towards the tractor. And then put these in. If I seem like I'm going over this quickly, it's because I am. I need to be somewhere else. But I wanted to film this because this is kind of confusing, and if somebody's trying to do this, this may help them out a little bit. I'm sorry. So I sprayed some lube in these holes because the bolts don't want to go in them very easily. It's like they got a little rust in them. And there are plastic caps in these holes that I had taken out before I started filming. So if you having trouble finding these holes, they have plastic caps in them, and there's paint over top of them. So you may have to the heck with this thing. You may have to find them there, but you'll find them. All right, what did I do with what I'm looking for? It takes a lot of different tools. You gotta have two 19mm wrenches. You gotta have two 17mm wrenches. You gotta have, this is a 14 Allen. I'm cheating here. I don't want to take all day to do this. Those are supposed to be torqued to like 200 Newton meters. So, good and tight. Get them good and tight. And that thing gets them pretty good and tight, but not quite. That's just a 3/8 drive Milwaukee fuel. Okay, so the next piece, or the next stuff you're gonna need, let's go back over here. I mean, it would probably make sense for me to roll this over there, but you need these bolts with washers. So you want to get 4 of those. 4 of them. And put this on here. Come on. Something is hitting on this one a little bit. The spring, I know it's hitting a little bit. I don't know why I didn't have that problem on the other one. All right, so I'm going to tighten that down and see if it'll it'll move that spring out of the way. And this takes a 24 millimeter socket, so it's a pretty good size socket. Yes, it just moved the spring right out of the way, so everything's good. So I can just get this one bolt started. It's not quite wanting to line up. I mean, it is close, so it really wants to go. And that bracket underneath is probably what the problem is. There are slight tolerances in where the bolts go in, and they can move just slightly, and I'm talking slightly. But it was enough to not let that one bolt line up. So I'm going to loosen this bolt, see if I can wiggle it around enough to get it to go. I did not have this issue on the other side. I didn't have the spring issue or anything on the other side. I want to try to, it feels like it's trying to start. No, it's crooked. I'm trying to get it started without cross threading it. And that without having to pull it all back off and start over. Which is what I'm probably gonna have to do. This is what happens when you're in a hurry because you need to be somewhere. These things don't go right. All right, so I'm gonna have to take it all back off and try to adjust that one bracket just a little bit. Let's make sure we can get a bolt started in it, because when I started it, I mean, I didn't turn it hard, but it was cross-threaded a little bit. Make sure we can get it in there. There we go. Our power is out. We have a generator running outside. Not that I really had to have power to do this, but what I'm going to do is loosen those Allens, and I'm going to squeeze these pieces together a little bit. Except I can't loosen it with that now because I tightened them by hand. There's nowhere to set anything either. You set it on the tire, it's just gonna roll off. So there, see, that thing moved over 1/8 of an inch when I did that. I think that's all it needs. So I'm gonna tighten it back up. And you can't get to these bolts once the bracket's on there, so you can't, it's not like you can put it on the bracket first and then try it. Don't work that way. See if we can get that bolt in there now. I'm gonna put it in there first. Oh, you bastard. I cross-threaded it again. What the heck? Yeah, I ran it in there to make sure it wasn't going to cross thread. And then when I put it in there, it still cross threaded. Run it in there a ways. Make sure it goes in easy. Okay, going easy. I think I can turn it in my hand. Okay, again. All right, I have it loose, and this thing should not even be affecting it in any way. This thing's just flopping around. This is the first one I want to put in there. I can see that it's trying to cross thread. Quit that mess, man. It's 20 in the world. It refuses to go in there straight. It refuses. I'm gonna get a different bolt to put in that one. That bolt went right in there. Now we're getting somewhere. Those two are in. We'll try to put this bolt in a different hole. Put that one there. This one here. Got all of them started straight. Now I'm tighten it up. Can't really get on those two with a gun, so you gotta turn them by hand. All right. Now, what we need are brackets. And I'll show you what brackets you need. You need this big old long bracket. And then there's a big old heavy bracket you're gonna need. This is the one that mounts to the bracket we just installed. Okay, if you look in this little instruction manual, there's a chart in here that tells you these right here. If you'll measure how big your wheel is, this will tell you which holes to use to put these two brackets together. Mine with the Dyna axle was 1,219 millimeters. So it showed me to put it in these holes right here. And you use the long bolt, and you put the washer and a nut and a lock nut, and you put the washer on the side of the slotted holes. This part goes up against this part on the outside. Okay. So you put these on mine, you use the lowest hole here and the lowest hole here. I'm sorry, you use the highest hole here and the lowest hole here. And on this one, the washer goes on the nut side. So you get a washer and a nut completely, because you gotta adjust. You want them snug so they don't flop around, but you don't want to tighten them completely. Because this is some of your adjustment for your fenders, which you'll have to adjust by eye here in a few minutes. So this is what it's going to look like once you get it together. The next thing you need is to mount this on the bracket we installed on the axle, and it takes a special bolt. It's a carriage bolt with a special head. You need 2 of those, and you need 2 big nuts. You don't get any washers on this one, from best I can tell. So on mine, it worked out. People keep calling me. On mine, it worked out that we needed to be in those holes there to make it all work. And then on this tractor, I mean, your tire size kind of dictates some of this. But on this tractor, it needed to be slid all the way towards the tractor before it was tightened up. So slide it all on this one, slide all the way out like this. And then before you tighten it, kind of line these, get these pieces parallel with each other. And that kind of gets everything straight. Then it takes the same 24mm socket. Tighten it tight. Now, the next thing that you gotta have is the fender. So I'll run over here and get it. Now there's some assembly to this fender, but I've already got it assembled. It's pretty straightforward once you figure out what's going on. It shows you in the book how to do this. It's not terrible. You got to put this bracketry underneath the fender together here. You bolt these 2 pieces on the ends, and then you bolt the center piece on, and this is where it bolts on to your bracket we just installed. So I got to get the 2 bolts and the washers that hold this on. So let me get that. So it takes these, kind of a thick washer and a bolt, golden bolt. So if you want to do it a different way, you can put this fender on that bracket that I just installed first, and you can tighten these with an air gun or something a little quicker. But This is how it shows to do it in the book, which doesn't really matter how you do it. You can do it how you want. What order you do this part, what order you want. Tighten it up good tight. Okay, so this is where you're gonna have to do a little bit of eyeballing. Come back here, look at it. You want it, because it can rock forwards and back because of this slot right here. So you want to make sure you get that in the right spot. And look at this side and see how it is and try to match. The other side's kind of like that on the slotted scale there. We'll tighten it just a little bit. The other thing you got to do is where you've got this top piece loose, where this piece is loose, you can move it, see? So you want to get it in line with your tire, front and rear. You want it to cover your tire good. So I'm sliding it, looking, and then take a 17 millimeter wrench and tighten that bolt, which is here. The bolt that you left loose under, that I was showing you under here. Just make sure everything is how I want it before I snug it all up. You can loosen a little bit and adjust it if you need to, if you're not happy with it, like me. I'm kind of have OCD about stuff like this, which is really not necessary, but I do. See what happens when you get OCD and try to move it just ever so slightly because you're not happy. You end up messing the whole thing up. Okay, so this one is installed. There's except for one thing, and that is the part that stops it from turning towards the hood. See, when you turn to the, on this one, when you turn to the right, there's a stop that keeps it from going all the way against that hood. So let me show you how to put that on, and then you're done. Now I already know which hole. You have this little piece here. You have this long bolt and the short bolt, and then you have this bracket right here. All right, I already know that this piece It's going to be bolted on like this, and this piece turns down. And I already know, see there's a bunch of holes. I know mine needs to go in the very first one. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up, and then I'll show you where this thing bolts on the other side. Takes a 17mm wrench, 2 of them actually. So I'm going to cheat and use a 5/8. Tighten it. Then you can put it the rest of the way on with just 1 wrench. So it goes right here. It goes just like this. Put it on here like this. Put the bolt in it. Tighten it up. Now I can't tell you where that pin needs to go on this bracket. You're going to have to experiment on your particular tractor. But on this one, the first hole there made it work like I thought it should and not hit the hood. I wanted it to turn a little bit towards the tractor, but not much, and it needs to clear the loader frames and all that good stuff. So once you tighten that, you can see in there that pin will hit the gray axle here, and it'll stop the fender from turning when you turn to the right. And the same thing happens on the other side when you turn to the left. So let me move all my tools and we'll test it. Looks good on there. Get my flashlight. So we'll crank it up. Turn to the right. That's good. Turn to the left. That's good. And let me show y'all from the outside. And you're looking at the left tire. So you turn and you see that the fender just stopped right there. It hit the stop and the tire continues to turn. And that just keeps the fender from hitting anything. Now when you turn to the right, the fender goes completely with the tire. So we are done. As long as all bolts are tight, you are done. I'm done. All is well, hopefully. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of long, and I was kind of in a hurry. I got to get to Ted and some hay. It's after 10 o'clock. Yeah, I got to get going. Talk to y'all later. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video.